name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now this is a general reading for your star sign, for Sun, Moon or Rising. As it's detailed in the title, it's a bulk introduction for all 12. So as ever, there will be a time signature down below, so you can skip ahead to the reading because you really want to watch 3 of them if you can. Sun sign, obviously. And moon sign is highly relevant, especially with this being a lunar eclipse. And your rising sign was the most important sign in ancient astrology, so that's one to go for as well. If you're not familiar with what your moon and rising sign is, there is a link in the chart below. I'm not going to spend too much on the astrology of this lunar eclipse, apart from it's 2020. It's big, because of course it is. It's 2020. And I've also done a video with astrologer David Fisher, which you should find a link to that down below as well. As for other housekeeping about links down below, there's also a link to the Facebook page for this channel where you can contact me directly if you're wanting me for a personal reading. Plus I post all of these videos and I post all the astrology videos that I'm watching, the weather report style readings. So general reading rules apply. You know, this time is hardly absolute. With a lunar eclipse, they say it can last up to 3 months, sometimes a month before and 2 months afterwards. With a solar eclipse, which of course we're having in 2 weeks, then that can be more of a 6-month cycle. So, you know, take that under advisement as you're listening to the reading. It's a full moon gods at play reading, obviously, because that's what I do for the full moon. So by their very nature, they are dramatic. That's the whole design of the reading. I'll discuss that more when I bring the cards up. But first, I just want to spend a moment looking at the symbols of the degrees where this full moon is taking place. So it's occurring at 9:29 a.m. GMT. So amend that time for your time difference from GMT, for your time zone, sorry, I should say. At 8 degrees 37 minutes of Gemini. So in terms of the symbol, that is the 9th degree of Gemini. So if we look at the inside degrees, for the actual moon itself, we have wildflowers growing around the ruins of a temple. Now the interpretation of this is really nice. Catching a second wind, taking a booster rocket from one cycle to another, one lifetime to another, or one whole stage in evolution to another. Now that sounds great, phenomenal. And we could certainly use that with everything that's been going on. So, shot out of a cannon to discover the next great thing. You are wildly attentive to signs and portents, looking for a way to the future. Well, you're watching this, aren't you? So, coming out of immense soul experience with flying colours leaping forth into the new. Enthusiastic, naive and impressionable, eager for 1,000 universes to come true. Now, there's a really interesting point. We have Neptune stationing during this full moon. So at the same time, it is squaring the nodes. So the power of the future is causing a tension with your dreams. So you may be forced closer towards the truth, you know, an objective truth, whatever that is, or even further into your dreams, where really you want to try to balance reality in your dreams. The whole idea of a square is that you find a creative solution using both aspects of that, both ends, like using Neptune and the North Node, using how you're setting your future with your dreams. Anyway, to continue the symbol, enthusiastic, naive and impressionable. I already said that, didn't I? You feel the ultimate springtime quality of fresh immediacy and wind-blown alacrity, just sensing all through body and soul, the possibilities, the openings, what wants to happen next. A destiny bearer, universal in spirit and in the right place at the right time for the remarkable synchronicities and huge turnarounds. That offers a lot of hope. But then again, it could, with it being the eclipse, this is the That's the image of the degree that is being obscured, where the moon is going into this degree and then all light from the moon disappears. So that's the ideal use of this degree. But there's a double edge to that, that unless you're really making the effort, you won't get to use the power of that degree, because the moon obviously is eclipsed. But the good news is it's only a partial eclipse, so you do still get some light from the moon, so you do still get some of the energy from this degree. But what was interesting is the opposing degree, 8 degrees Sagittarius. I'll come back when I can learn to speak. Where the sun is shining and is casting its light, the light that is partially obscured by the shadow of the earth when it hits the moon. So we have, for inside degrees, a man with green skin. He is dressed with leaves. Playful, exuberant, spontaneous and elusive, you are restless under constraint, with all of civilization representing constraint. You're desperate to be free. When not held down, you have spectacular abilities and affinities, but when bound by time, you become abrasive and provoking. Temperamental in extreme ways, aching for free movement in a vast territory, drawn to every extreme that exists. Here we see again that power of Neptune being stationary. It actually turns stationary on the, well, becomes stationary, I should say, on the day of the full moon. The body and soul of one who can never be identified, tamed or narrowed. You are the one who knows how deep the earth is, surging with volatile currents, and these bear all hope and promise if they are followed with open arms. The one who shows everybody what life is like when it lets itself go and contagiously ripples, with permission and encouragement for each and all to come out and play and explore the far edges, and even perhaps over those edges into the greater wilderness, claiming the allegiance of those whose wildness is no passing whim, but the only viable way. So again, we've got that double edge. We've got that power of Neptune going on. Are you going to dive deeper into your echo chamber? Are you going to dream a better future? Are you going to be able to look at reality and make those dreams into reality and not just think that you're in those dreams? You know, there's all sorts of different levels here. This is very much a decision time. It's a preparatory time. We are coming up to the Great Conjunction, which, as I saw in one video going, well, it's only every 20 years, but it's part of a far larger cycle. The Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is the first time it's occurring in an air sign, and now for the next 200 years or so, it will be occurring in air signs. So we've got what's called a mutation, a great shift into air, a great shift into being more intellectual, more informed, and possibly a little less emotional, for good or for ill. You know, there's no one's going to say that there is anything wrong with emotions. They have their place. They are vital to how we function. But in the meantime, this is a house clearing time to sort out, hang on a minute, what am I wanting to achieve here, and what do I no longer need to achieve it? And that's definitely an empowered negative statement. What do I need to dispose of in order to achieve what I'm wanting to achieve? Now, this degree is ruled by, if I remember correctly, it's ruled by Rochelle, who is an angel all about restitution and finding lost objects. So again, there's the lost objects, not as the things that you're getting rid of, but the things that you are making space for. Now, opposing this, Yehuya, who I did not actually just draw the meaning up for. Let's see, Yehuya, where we got? So, Yehuya, now here's a good one. Revealing the dark side or subordination to higher order. Now, again, there's two ways. Considering we had that image all about rebellion and trying to find freedom, there's two ways you can see that higher order. Are we talking about a mundane higher order, a higher order that is existing here on the planet, or are we talking more to a more esoteric, spiritual submission to the higher order of the divine? And again, that choice is slowly being presented to us by each individual piece being brought up to our attention, each individual piece of our dreams, piece of our belief systems, piece of our day-to-day life, day-to-day practice being brought up to go, you know, do I really need this? And either answer is okay, but you have to ask the question. So either answer is like, no, I don't need this anymore. Its time has passed. That's fine. Or yes, this is essential for what I want to accomplish. This is essential for me being whom I want to be. And it will enable us to love our own process more, if that makes sense. And the reason I say that is ruling the decan that this eclipse is occurring in on the moon side is the goetic spirit Ammon. Certainly in the day it is Ammon, and at night it is Sabnok. So here for the northern hemisphere, well, if it's daytime and Ammon is ruling it wherever it is, and if it's nighttime it's Sabnok. So looking at Ammon is a goetic spirit who can be very much about love. Can be used or can be appealed to in love magic that gives aid in divination. So Ammon's energies can certainly help us try and see the future with a little bit more clarity. And this is interesting. Ammon gives aid in divination and helps the sorcerer get in touch with her true will. So it's not just my vision for the future, my dream for the future under all that Neptunian influence. It's going, hang on a minute, this dream I've got of the future, is this what I really want? Is it one of these, I think someone called them on a video I was watching recently, false beliefs? You know, because you get brought up to be told that you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, and if you're not those, then you're not good enough. Or that everybody needs the house and 2.5 kids and the car. Or, you know, all of these beliefs that are what society or family or whoever or the TV tells you that you want, when actually is, no, I want to ride on horseback on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. I want to spend my life hosting a YouTube channel. I want to spend my life living in the forest and caring for the forest. Or I really want to get involved in social work, tapestry, you know, knitting, you know, whatever it is that really floats your boat. You have to be able to say, yeah, hang on a minute, that floats your boat. I've been fighting for the past 10 years to save enough money to put a mortgage down on this house, and I don't even want to be a homeowner. I want to be free. I want to do what free people do. You know, there's really diving down to go, okay, I want the house and the car, or I don't want the house and the car. I want happiness. I want success in business. I want success in love. I want to make my friends' lives better, my clients' lives better. I want to paint things. You know, whatever it is that you want, just learning to be honest about what it is that you want and then going for it. Now, Sabnok, what have I got on Sabnok? Not a lot of information. Now, he builds high towers and castles and cities on the astral plane. So he's all about constructing. If you know anything about creative visualization, which is often covered under nowadays under like law of attraction. You visualize a situation, a condition, whatever it is that you're wanting to bring into being, and you visualize it so hard, is that the way to say it, that you are believing yourself in it and you are knowing that it is already real. That is building a castle on the astral plane, which is exactly what Sabnok is doing. So Amon is helping you identify what you want to build, or if the eclipse is happening during nighttime for you, Sabnok is helping you build the vision of it and therefore be calling that into your future. Assuming, of course, you're taking the advantage to, well, to clear out the stuff that you do not need. Now, there was another thing that I wanted to go back to, the 8 degrees Gemini symbols. Yes, the 8 degrees Gemini symbol for the the Omega symbol, a ruby growing in a laboratory, however you say it. So even though fake, but not fake, it's still a ruby. It's beautiful, it's crystalline, and I personally love red. I mean, I wear a lot of garnet. Ruby is actually, I prefer garnet to ruby, but ruby has such a depth and motion to it with that red color, with that red vibration of moving forward with things. But this is not so much about moving forward, this lunar eclipse. This is about preparing to move forward and knowing which way forward is. There's not much more that I want to say. Obviously, if this has been useful for you, like, share and subscribe. I'm sure I'll say that at the end of the reading as well. But also, now you can breathe a sigh of relief and press the timestamp thing, get to the readings. I'll bring the cards up for you. Okay then, Capricorn, if you've seen these readings before, then you're well aware that this top row of 5 cards here represents the masks being worn by the archons as they try to keep you exactly where you are, unevolved, unconnected with the divine, vibrating in fear and misery and all of that, the bad stuff. Whereas this bottom row represents the gods themselves, trying to lift you up and help you reconnect with your divine nature, your divine self, your destiny, God, however you want to look at it. So just going through the masks the archons are wearing to subvert your purpose, we have Helios with cycles, Demeter with harvest, Ma'at with justice, Ursulae with prosperity, and Orpheus with music. On first sound, that sounds great, but remember, these are the tools of the archons trying to manipulate you. The true god forces wanting to lift you up, we have Prometheus with altruism, Psyche with sacred union, always a good card to see, Boudica with unity. Now that's the first time she's appeared in the god row rather than the archon row or archontic row. I'll come back to that because the archons in all the other readings have been trying to enforce some form of mob mentality, whereas I think here, Capricorn, you've got all the authority, you've got all the power in your sign at the moment. You've got Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto. You can play at the same game. We have Nuit with expansiveness, which backs up what I was just saying, basically. We've got the really interesting Scylla with drama. Think of Scylla and Charybdis. Scylla used to drag sailors to their death. Remember, this is one helping you. And Typhoeus, or even Typhoeus, basically Typhon, with fear. Now, it strikes me that there's a fear coming up for you to face, and if you face it, it ends really well. That's what this is saying. But this top row, let's have a look at what story the archons are presenting to you to start off with. You take some form of offer Because after all, these things happen in cycles, and it's your turn, and this offer is coming around. And you are to take some form of offer which is alleged it will bring you the prosperity, but it is in very, very tight rules. And I'm not entirely sure that the balance that you would be comfortable with is actually present. And it's, oh, I've not had that from that card. Orpheus, I'm often reminded that Orpheus failed in his mission to the underworld at the very last moment. But what I just got from it there is set up to fail. It's almost like there is an offer given to you, and right, this is happening again. We'll pay you to deal with it, you know, or it's your turn to deal with it. And you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to. What I really want to say is you may have to deal with it, but you don't have to pacify it, to quieten it down, to quell it. You dive into the drama of it, you know, as scary as that prospect may be. The thing with this Typhon card is that Typhon was eventually beaten. He was conquered by Zeus eventually. But also there's that sense of Typhon was created for a very specific purpose. Gaia was angered at the Olympians' victory over her favoured children, the Titans, and so she gave birth to Typhon to conquer them. And maybe there is an element here, certainly with this sacred union mixed with the Psyche with Boudica, the unity card, of giving birth to something. So whether this is giving birth to a movement of people, because there's more than one person involved here. Bear in mind, this can be on a societal type level, or this could more likely be on quite a personal level. So when I say there's unity, I'm not necessarily imagining a crowd of 500, 600, 700 or 1,000 of you. I'm thinking more maybe 2 or 3 of you. You know, so it could be within the family, could be within the workplace, could be on your street. But I feel like there is a chance of giving birth to something that is feared by, I don't want to say feared by others, feared by somebody, but with good reason. They want to be scared of it. It's only right, because we have the fundamental principle here of Prometheus with altruism. Then, so you are meaning well, you are doing something for others. You are facing something either within yourself or within your environment for the sake of others. I mean, obviously it's for your own development as well, but that's irrelevant in the story that I'm telling here. You are giving birth to something that will be scared, and that you are scared of doing to start off with, but you are doing it for others, and you are recruiting others to your purpose. That purpose gets larger, and yes, absolutely it will be dramatic. How can it not be? But that in and of itself is a good thing, that I feel. Scylla used to pick the sailors off one by one. But I rather think that that's more picking off obstacles, picking off things or even people, or more to the point, philosophies and points of view that are in your way, in your way of whatever this altruistic thing is. So again, this is not necessarily predictive, or well, I suppose the archontic row is, but these are the energies that you can take advantage of, or that you can choose between. well, I say you can take advantage of. You can take advantage of the gods' energies, or you can fall under the sway of the archontic energies. You know, that's how this spread is designed. And it's a gods reading, so it's going to be dramatic. But recruiting people to face something, recruiting yourself to face something that you're quite scared of, but the end result is somebody else, other people are scared of what you have set into motion. But I do want to say that these other people who are scared, my reaction to that isn't, oh God, you're scaring people. My reaction to that is, good, they should be. You know, that, and that's what I feel that your reaction here, because it's coming from, like I say, the Prometheus with altruism here, being that creative. You know, it's almost like you're sat there going, yeah, that's an issue. What if we do this? You know, and there's a half malicious, half triumphant smile to your face, because yeah, some people are going to be annoyed by this. Some people are going to be sent running for the hills, but good. So whether that applies to your personal life, your work life, or just society at large, we'll find out. But the other thing that emphasizes that this is a good thing is Rahel, who represents in astrology love and submission. So I think it's submission to divine will. So you are supposed to be playing this role. I mean, come on, with all these major planets in your sign, Capricorn, there's things you are supposed to be doing this year, and no doubt you've already started doing a lot of them. But interestingly, there's this angel prince of the north, which is the angel energy all over this reading, which says, I celebrate my uniqueness with joy and gratitude. This is you going into the position of some form of leader. You know, you are leading people along. You are the creator of humanity, the giver of fire that sets people into motion. You are coming into a sacred union with this cause or with other people to expand the effect of what you are setting into motion. This is something that you are scared of, but you can face, and then it's other people's turn to be scared of it, and good, rightly so. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because like I said, the archontic realm is saying all things will be all right if you settle down and you keep all that quiet. You know, you deal with all of that. But it's not necessary that it has to come round again, is what Helios is saying. And I'm seeing Helios there as a very unforgiving, you know, like the desert sun. The heat bearing down and there is no escape from it. But yeah, it doesn't have to be that way. Demeter here. This is the offer of this being in your interest from the Archons. We have Demeter with harvest and Ursula with prosperity. But what Ursula says is that there are very strict rules that you have to obey with this. And Demeter, you may notice, she's leaving spring in a way because she's passing, but she is heading into the winter. And that's what I don't particularly like, because it's almost like you are being sent out as the trailblazer. And yes, you will create profit, you will create benefit, but you're not going to feel it because your face is always in the snow and the cold and the wind and the rain and the wet and the horrible, you know. So you're not going to, whatever this offer or urge is on the top, you're never going to feel the benefit of it, but someone else is doing. Whereas you take your own role, you are growing through the process, you are promoting unity in the process, you are help expanding love through the process. There is personal spiritual profit in that, even if there isn't real world profit in that. Because yeah, this idea that they're giving you is It's on some like some distant form of this is what is right and this is what is wrong. I mean, they're wrong, but this is what is right and this is what is wrong. But these concepts are so very abstract. They're so very distant. They do not reflect your day-to-day life, and they do not reflect the day-to-day lives of those around you. And it is indeed a burden for you to have to take this on board. And when all said and done, it's slow going. And like I say, I feel like you're being set up to fail here. Let's see what cards we've got for the more positive gods. We start with the World. So if there isn't, if that isn't a symbol to say, yeah, do the altruistic thing and you will profit from it, you will benefit from it. That's that World card. It will support you in what you are doing. Even though what you are doing partly is facing that fear before you get to encourage those who you want to face that fear. You know, it's you first. You know, it's almost you're leading your enemies by example in a good way. Scary way, but good way. That's what I might call the reading, if I remember it. Lead your enemies by example. And we have Psyche with Sacred Union. Remember, her lover was the god of love himself, being clarified by the Lovers card. So if you have a question that is related at all to love and romance, that's looking good. But also it's like making the choice to move forward. So there may well be factors that you cannot see, but some of the factors that you cannot see are the fact that you've got more allies than you think you have. Jack of Spades with drama. Yeah, I think you are going to be presenting yourself as quite a formidable opponent, but with a very sharp aim, a very clear aim. Yes, because the monster that you create, the Typhon that you give birth to, the fear that you release, is well targeted. Queen of Wands here. She gets stuff done, but she manifests. You can't argue with the Queen of Wands. But she's just as likely to do it herself as she is to ask you to do it, because she's a queen and she's quite capable, thank you. Not she's a queen and you should do what she says. You know, she's the one who takes action when relevant, and only when relevant. But this particular Queen of Wands, there is so much support for you in this bottom row, but there is an element of bite the bullet. I've forgotten what I was going to call the reading already. There's there's the instruction by the gods here to bite the bullet, do that which you are scared of, and don't just go along to get along and you keep that lot quiet offer. You know, doesn't matter what prosperity, whether the prosperity is money or whether the prosperity is temporary peace and quiet in the home, whatever it is, don't go along with it. So I could call it bite the bullet, don't go along with it, or whatever the other thing that I said, which I'm going to have to look up in a minute. Right, so if this means anything to you, Capricorn, yeah, if it means anything to you, comment down below. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, please. But also, there will be new readings coming out soon. Best of luck, Capricorn. Cheers.